Hey, everybody, it is Jim and Dug Up and Dusted Off, and I'm glad you're here tonight. We've got some things to talk about, so hang tight. We're going to get started. All right, it's good to have you on tonight. Man, what a night. I've been wearing these. Well, first of all, welcome. But I've been wearing these sock hats. What do you call them? Like ski caps, because it's been so cold, and my hair gets all sticks up and all does sorts of all crazy stuff. So, I don't know why I shared that, but I did. Welcome. We're glad you're here. I hope you're having a good night. Hope you had a great week. Hope you're enjoying life. It's the Advent season. It's Christmas season. You better have your tree up. You better have your lights on. I've added 3 lights to my Christmas tree, which is right here. So that's kind of cool. Actually, no, those are just the lights coming off the back corner, and I just draped them into the tree. So I got to get lights on, because if I turn those lights on, it's just way too bright. But it is a great time to experience something new in our lives. Christmas always sort of ushers in that new thing, and I'm hoping you're experiencing that. I hope you're getting to get out and see the lights and do all those great things. I want to say hey to Sherry. Good to have you on, and all those other people that are watching. Just sort of hey to you guys. Glad you're on tonight. We like for you to share comments. We welcome that. Hit that heart emoji, hit that like emoji. If you can hear me well, and if I'm coming in loud and clear, again, we love to hear your thoughts and for you to say hello. And if you're new, we'd love for you to introduce yourself, and we'll welcome you with open arms. Well, you're not new really, but because you're a part of the group. You've been a part of the group. You were asked to be invited, and you accepted, or I accept you to come in. So that's all good. And but a lot of people like to watch this afterwards, and they're doing things, and you know what? That's life. So again, great having you. Julie, you came on. Madeline, you came on. Good to see you guys. Glad y'all are here with us tonight. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a good Christmas season so far. You know, Advent started in November. I really don't like it when it does that because it doesn't feel like Christmas. And so we were singing, Come All You Faithful last Sunday, and it just, I don't know if anybody was really in the mood for it yet. I don't know. But hey, Kevin, I think that I'm going to be really excited to be in church on Sunday because we got some great music. Just it's going to be fun. And so I wanted to talk about some things tonight. One thing tonight. I wanted to talk about what does it mean to make a difference? What does it mean to make a difference in this life? And I was watching this movie. Imagine that. Somebody's watching a movie during COVID. I was watching this movie, and I'm not going to tell you what it was, but the main character ends up dying in the end. And he talks about how he feels all of this beauty and all of this love. And one thing he said was, I feel gratitude for every single moment of my stupid little life. And he goes, you really don't know what I'm talking about. And this is just a voice, and it's going over the landscape and stuff. And he goes, but one day you will. And then the movie ends. It was really a poignant line because it made me think, his life, the whole movie was about him discovering his life again and discovering not necessarily his purpose, but just enjoying life again, coming alive again. He was in a dead marriage, a dead job. His kids didn't like him, all this stuff. And so it made me think about, what does it mean to make a difference in life? And because we only get one life to do that in, we only get one moment. And that's what made me think about it when he said, because he was I'm not going to tell you the movie, but it was, he tragically lost his life. And then there he is, he doesn't get to live life anymore, but he's living out of his body and floating around. But first of all, I think we take for granted life. That's just a fact. I think every moment we really, and that's the key of what he said at the very end of the movie. He said, but one day you will. One day you will thank God for every pathetic little moment you ever experienced, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so that was a pretty poignant, observation. But then it made me think, okay, so then what's the point? The point is to make a difference in this life. And so, yeah, I'm listening. Hey, Susan, Susan was saying something, to leave an imprint on something or someone. Yeah, exactly. To live in, I think in the end, we are to make a difference in this world, but more importantly, in the lives of all that we meet. And so, as a pastor, I get the privilege of doing that every Sunday. I did that today. Sarah and I went to some houses, and we prayed, and for a person that was having surgery tomorrow, and we think that made a difference. But there's some people that are not able to make a difference in their lives, and that saddens me deeply, because in the end, what is there to do but do that? But to truly um, change the trajectory of another person's life. So tell me below, if you can. You might not be able to. We don't do this a lot, but tell me below, what is the difference that you've made in somebody's life? Can you share that one moment with us? That what was like one of the most pivotal moments that and you know what? For me, they don't even have to be moments I recognized in the moment as much as, and I'll never forget this. Me and Sherry experienced this down at Peachtree City at Christmas Eve when this whole family walks in and says, because of you, we now know Jesus. My whole family knows Jesus. They were witches and they were, it's a long story, but it's going to be a book. And, but I had no idea. I mean, I knew I'd made an impact on their lives, but I had no idea it was, I mean, they came of ways to come and say hello to me on Christmas Eve last year. And so I didn't know that I was their pastor 15 years ago, something like 10 years ago. But I was their pastor like 10 years ago, and I never knew I did that. And so a lot of times you don't realize what you're doing, but you're either making a difference, or I guess the better way to put that is you're not making a difference. And you're either leading somebody to experience life in a more abundant way, or you're leading people away from that. Hey, Jeanette, good to see you. And so, I think for me, in order to make a difference, you have to start out with the right foundation. You have to understand that you were created to do something very specific in this world. You have a purpose, you have a plan, you have a destination, a destiny that God has decided to place you on, and that destiny and that purpose is different for every single one of us. Some of us are destined to make tons of money and give that money to the kingdom of God and empower missionaries and do all that good stuff. Other people are to be the missionaries, dirt poor, and rely on the generosity of other people. And so whatever purpose, whatever gifts you're given and whatever place in life you're given, you could be on the mountaintop or in the valley, you're still to make a difference. And I think really the people in the valley make the most powerful difference, because what they do is, because of the one that lives in them, i.e. their Lord and their God that created them, they are able to overcome things. And God uses them in such a powerful way that when they do walk out of the valley, they become a testimony of real strength and courage and faith. And so that, in my opinion, when we, are able to shine like that in front of the people take notice. Sherry said being able to hear someone's story. Yeah, to be a listener, there's so many different ways to make a difference in the life of another human being. But maybe you could put down in the comment box, what is it? If we're going to make a difference in somebody's life, what is that? To give them a job? What is it? I think for me, it's introducing them to Jesus. That would be the most penultimate thing for me to be able to hear. Somebody say to me that you introduced me to Jesus. It might be different for you, but that for me is the most, that's what I do. That's why I do what I do, is to introduce, because I was saved by it 25 to 30 years ago. And I want other people to know what that feels like. Now, that always hadn't been a great road. That's, my Lord and I have a very unique relationship. I generally shout, he generally listens, and then he teaches me lessons along the way, and I can be a hard nut to crack. But I think that, that relationship, if you're going to share anything with anybody, make a difference in anybody's life, it is to share with them Jesus. Now, other people want just to be kind to people, or random acts of kindness, or do something financial, and all that's good, and I think all that's great. But I don't believe that ultimately. I think those things are a result of introducing somebody to Jesus Christ. And so, how are you doing that? How are you telling people about Jesus? How are you telling people about your faith? And think about it for a second. If you're going through life, going through work, going through whatever you're going through without, I mean, your job could make a difference. You could be a neurosurgeon. You could be on the front lines. You could be a paramedic on the front lines of a war or a conflict and saving the lives of people that are wounded. Yeah, that's making a difference. But ultimately, making a difference is giving somebody abundant life now, but more importantly, an eternal life with God that created them. And so I consider that very important. You know, like that's a high honor to be able to share that. And so how are you making your workplace an altar? How are you making your workplace a place where people see in you the living Christ, the living Lord? How are you people seeing in you by what you say and by what you do? How are they seeing in you the one that was crucified for you? I mean, so these are important questions we have to ask ourselves really on a daily basis if we're going to make a difference in this world and especially in the lives of people. And you know, and there's some days we don't do that well. There's some days where we're in bad moods. Some days people hurt us. Some days where, I mean, Scrooge, Albert Finney Scrooge. Everybody's got to watch Albert Finney Scrooge. I mean, it's just a must. It's definitely a prerequisite. It's one of the viewing opportunities that, you know, Gabriel will ask you at the gates of heaven, did you watch Albert Finney Scrooge? And then you say yes, come on in. No, go back down and watch it. You'll come back later. That's how important Albert Finney Scrooge is. But he sings this song, I Hate People. That's the very first song and it's a musical, by the way. And it's the very first song that Scrooge sings is I Hate People. And I kept thinking to myself, how can somebody go through life hating the one thing that we're supposed to love more than anything else? And yet he absolutely, as he would say, I deplore them, I detest them, I don't know how at the end of a life like that, because he thought that the only thing that mattered was making money. And then, you know, the second ghost appears, Father something, I forget what the second ghost was, but he says, you know, mankind should be your business. And I keep thinking of that line, and I keep thinking, okay, we don't have a lot of time left in our lives. I mean, life is short, no matter if you're 20 watching this or you're, you know, 72 watching this. We don't have a lot of time to do this. And so I think that, so let me ask you this next question. What is it that stops you from making a difference in the lives of people? And do you even agree with me that one of the most beautiful things to ever do would be introduce people to Jesus? So you might disagree with me about that. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see here. Hang on. Let me be able to read some of these things. So Sherry said that was a special George Bailey. Yeah. Hot dog. Not just listen to their words. What is Sherry saying? That was a special moment. Generations impacted for the kingdom. Oh, yeah. That you were there, Sherry, for sure. You were there when they walked in the door. I mean, that was a crazy moment for sure. I mean, that was an absolute insane moment. Here, this whole family came into the church that I served in on the south side, and they were witches. And the only reason they came into the church is because their daughter wanted to check it out. I mean, she was like 8. And then their whole family got hooked. Like the kids got hooked in our children's ministry. And Lord, I even let these people serve as ushers. And they were witches. I mean, they had a pentagram on their chains. I mean, they were full-blown witches. And, you know, they got involved in the church. They never got, you know, I didn't baptize them. Or Sherry, did I baptize them? I forget. Did I baptize the kid? I think I might have baptized the child. But hadn't heard from them since. And 10, 15 years later, they're showing up at this church and telling me how grateful they are because I mean, everybody else wanted me to kick them out. I mean, that's a fact. I'll never forget. I had people all over me about this. Why are you letting them serve? What are you doing? I mean, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think I had them read scripture even one time. I mean, I'm just that anyway. So, but, it made a difference, man. It made a difference. And I think I was like just walking on cloud nine. I know that I remember I just said, I could die right now. This was the greatest moment of my life. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. So Jeanette says, not just listen to their words, be intentionally hear what their heart is speaking. Oftentimes people are just that surface. Yeah, I agree with that, Jeanette. I mean, you can't, enjoy. Yeah, you can't listen. That's one thing I wasn't always a great listener. I was a great, if some people were in trouble, I acted. I was never a great listener. So I've become a good listener. It's taken me years to do that, but I've become a good listener, and people want to be listened to. I mean, they want you to listen to their stories. They want you to listen to their stuff, and it's important that you do that. George Bailey, man, huge. Yeah, what a great type character that represents us all. I mean, here's this guy trying to struggle to get out of his city, go travel the world, and yet he hates his town. He hates the building and loan. He hates everything about what his dad did. And yet, at every time he's trying to get out, an event pulls him back in, whether it's the run on the bank. I mean, the run on the bank was the big one, but he just couldn't. I mean, then he was asked to run the building and loan. He was going off to see the world. I mean, there was just one thing. This poor guy, one thing after another. And the very end of the movie, figures it out. His brother says what did his brother say? Here's to the richest person in Bedford Falls. And unbelievable story of somebody awakening to the difference that they made in the lives of other people. Even through his business, he was saying, you know what, when they were trying to withdraw all the money, I'd like to, take all my money out, George. And he's like, no, you don't get it. You understand what we have here is that your money is invested in Mrs. Giuliani's house, and her money is invested in Mr. McCormick's house, and we're all in this together. You can't pull all your money out because we're invested in each other. And that was a really good line because it really meant that it was so much more than financial. Their lives were invested in one another. They didn't realize it, but because they had invested in the building and loan invested in all of the community. And so it is a powerful moment for George Bailey. Great. Yeah, Kevin, that's a great character, great reminder of somebody who he tried to kill himself. Think about that for a second. I mean, he tried to kill himself because he was going to jail because his brother or his uncle lost the money to the deposit to Mr. Potter, who is probably not in heaven right now. And he's going to kill himself. He's going to throw himself off the bridge. And there Clarence comes in and he ends up saving Clarence. Clarence jumps in and he ends up saving Clarence. I mean, he's always making an impact on somebody's life, and he never knew it. What a weird way to go through life, knowing that you're making the most massive impact in the lives of other people, and yet you never knew it. I don't know. That's a weird thing to that movie. He never knew it. Kevin says we always have to make an impact on people. The thing that we need to make sure of is that the impact is positive. Yeah, of course, Kevin, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, we're always making an impact. Oh, that's for a fact. Sometimes we take hammers. A hammer can be used to build something, as you know, Kevin, or it can be made to hit the thumb when you miss the nail. And a lot of people bring their hammers to hit to little bunny foo-foo, bopping people on top of the head, and those are very negative impacts on people, and that's not what we're called to be or do. But that's sometimes we screw up, sometimes we hurt people, sometimes people. I guarantee you, as a pastor, we are either intentionally misunderstood or the majority of the time intentionally misunderstood, I think. And then the very few times we really are misunderstood, and we're not out there trying to hurt somebody, but sometimes we use our words, and those can be very heavy and weigh up 1,000 pounds, and we say things that that can rub people the wrong way. And all we can do is say we're sorry. All we can do is say, hey, look, I made a mistake, and I've apologized at least twice in my career. So that's a joke. I've apologized 3 times. So but you gotta be man enough to say you're sorry when you screw something up. And I've always found that in ministry, the easiest thing to do is say you're sorry if you screwed it up. I mean, a lot of times people just leave a church and never come back, and you never knew what the heck you did, but you did something. But 9 times out of 10, I'm always saying, hey, look, had no idea that let me explain, or it's so easy to say sorry. That's the easiest thing you possibly do. Yeah, there you go, Susan. I got a ha, Susan. Yeah. So what is a lot of us, I'm 54 years old now. Honestly, I want to make a much bigger impact on the lives of people. I feel like, I want to go out larger than anything I ever could have done in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. So I'm feeling the pains of that right now. COVID has got me frustrated because I feel like I'm a little handicapped. For a lot of other people, they're in heaven because they don't like to work anyway. But for me, I want to get with people. I want to get out with people. I want to make an impact on people. And I feel like we obviously can't do that at the speed I want to right now. So I'm real frustrated. The last week and a half, I've just been, just sort of in a funk because I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go out not, doing my best. So, for me, I like to eat pizzas and do all that kind of stuff. And that's what I've been doing. And I was down to 191. Now I'm back up to 196. So that kind of stinks. My dad came out the house the other day, and he was been on a diet, and he said, Jim, I'm down to 197. My dad is down to 197, guys. He went from 280 down to 197. And that can't even motivate me right now. I'm such a funk. So, but yeah, I think that in your spirit, if you do get in that sort of that mild depression, in that place where you kind of are like, blasé, I think it's because your spirit's saying you're not trying hard enough to make that impact. You're not doing enough to, make that difference. And I think you need to listen to your mind. I think you need to listen to your heart. I think you need to listen to those things because it's telling you. If you're not uncomfortable, if you're not pushing yourself, if you're not stretching yourself, you're probably not growing. You're probably dying. And I think it's no different with anything we tackle. Making a difference is a strategy. Making a difference in the lives of other people is a strategy that we have to write out. We have to implement. We have to go for it. We have to have people around us to help us succeed in it. We have to do it at 150% of our energy. And when we do that, we achieve greatness, I think. And again, for me, and it might not be for you, but for me, that just moment is when somebody discovers Jesus. For Paul, it will be somebody that discovers Jesus. For the disciples, somebody that discovers Jesus. When even Jesus would say, when one is lost and is found, heaven celebrates. Okay? When he goes out to the 90, when he leaves the 99 to go out and find the one, and he returns, the kingdom of heaven rejoices. And so for me, I want to find those that are lost. I want to find those that have either gotten themselves lost, hiding from the truth, whatever it takes to get people to hear, you know, the thing that saved me is the thing that I'm passionate about to help save other people. And that's honestly why I am unabashedly don't care a whit what people think about my sermons. If people think my sermons are too tough, well, tough. If they think they're not strong enough, well, tough. I mean, no one will ever say my sermons aren't strong enough or pointed. But some people think they're too pointed. And you know what? You only get one shot at a human being's heart. And you know what? If I don't hear somebody saying, well, you stepped on my toes today, then I haven't gone far enough. And no, I get the liberty of doing that. Making a difference in somebody's life doesn't necessarily mean that you go up there and point out all their faults. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes people need to be shook and shook up, and churches need to be shook up. I mean, good Lord, I know denominations that need to be shook up. But, you know, that's only going to happen when religious leaders decide to take chances and take risks instead of, you know, enjoying their place of paycheck and power and control. And they've got to they can't be afraid of upsetting, you know, the status quo. And I think that's where I was talking to a pastor who's a good friend of mine today, and he has a church, but he said, you know, this is the best time for us to be the church. I mean, right now, we have the greatest opportunity to make a difference in this world, to be the light of Christ to a broken world. And so there's no better place no better time than right now to make a difference in the lives of people that are broken. And there are plenty of people that know Jesus that are absolute destitute. And you got to make a difference. You got to be Jesus to those people. They already know who Jesus is. They already believe in Jesus. Jesus is asking you to let them see me through you, and then you make a difference. That's where Sherry says that's where we listen to people. That's where we want to find out about who people are, what their story is, what makes them tick, how they got to the place they're in. Making a difference among Christians and other Christians. For believers is just taking time to be with one another. For non-believers, I think it's introducing people to Jesus by what we say and by what we do. One person said, I'll never forget, one person just sort of said, to a non-believer, all we got to do is be a rescue boat and start picking people up. You know, there are a lot of people out there drowning, and all we got to do is be the one person to offer our hand, pull them up and pull them in. That's the first act of making a difference in the life of another person, saying, you know what, maybe this is it. This is maybe the first step towards a non-believer, is to say, you know what, I'm here. I've taken the time out of my life. I didn't have to be here. I didn't have to come here. I didn't have to take the time. And a lot of people, you make a difference just by showing up. You make a difference just by being there in their pain and in their suffering. When I go visit hospitals, a lot of the time I don't have to say hardly anything. It's just my presence that is enough for another human being. The fact that you just wanted to take time and to be with me meant the world. And then, of course, I give them Jesus. That's the one thing I'm coming there to do, is give them Jesus. But yeah, I mean, it comes in a lot of different ways. So again, Linda, that's a great point. Don't hide your light under a bat. Exactly. I mean, every time that we decide to let that moment pass by, we just put a bushel over the light. And man, at Christmas, this is the best time to share the light of Jesus. This is the best time for us to bring Christ to people that really, and look, how about those believers that have lost their faith because of pandemics, because of job loss, this is the best time to make a difference in the life of another human being. What is he asking you to do? How is he asking you to make that difference? How is he asking you to get in the game? How is he asking you to get involved? So think about this, y'all. Think about this seriously. I think the difference in your own life is to get into a good church. Find a good church, please.
There's a great one on the south side in Peachtree City. There's a great one on the north side in Canton, Georgia, called Overcome. But you've got to find a person. You've got to find a church with a passionate pastor that's going to preach the word of God hard, that's going to challenge you to do mission and ministry, and it's going to show up for you when you're in trouble. He or she is going to lead by example. When it hits the fan, he or she is going to be there in the midst of all of your chaos. And if that person's not willing to do that, then find another person that will. So first, find that church. Get involved in a place of ministry yourself. Start feeding your own soul and your own spirit, because you're not going to go out and give something to somebody that you don't have yourself. You're not going to be a passionate witness for Jesus if your faith is dead. Okay, John Wesley even said that about himself. He was, he felt like he had lost his faith at one point, and one of his pastors, one of his friends, I think it was Coke, said, he said, keep preaching until you get faith. So, if you've lost your faith, keep reading that Bible, keep praying to God, you'll get it back again, and then you'll be able to go out and witness in a very powerful way. But you first got to ignite the light in your own heart, and then you can ignite it in somebody else's, I believe. And so, think about that tonight. Think about how God's using. I would love to talk to you about that. If you need some advice, if you need some direction, if you need just a third party that is objective and looking from the outside in, I can be that person. Sherry can be that person. Just let us know. Hit us up on our PM us on our Facebook. Direct message us. We're there for you. We would love to be a part. We'd love to partner with you in any way you want to make a difference in the lives of other people. So I thank you for being with me tonight. That was on my heart. That was on my mind. It's time to make a difference. Fake it till you make it. Amen, Susan. I agree with that. It's time to make a difference, man. It's time to get off of our little proverbial rear ends and get out there, guys, and start sharing a light. Start letting people know that there is a Lord that loves them. There is a Lord that is there for them, and a Lord that wants to make a difference in their life. And Sherry, has said, the Holy Spirit, yes, I agree with that. There's pain in a lot of different places. So again, I want to say goodbye to some people. Thanks for being on, Sherry. Thanks for being here, Susan, tonight. Thank you so much, Linda, for being on. Praying for Rick and you guys always. Thank you, Tammy, for being on. Tammy says you can't be brave if you only have wonderful things. Oh, agree with that. Tammy, you're one of the bravest human beings on the planet. Trust me, girl. You got a crown, a huge crown. You're a warrior, my friend. Who else can we say? Hey, Kevin, thanks for all you do. I'm reading what Kevin said. A number of years ago, a guy came to the house. A friend of mine, turns out he used to live in peace. You do not really remember him, but he knew me from his son. Stated that his son had always told him that I had really made a very positive. Yeah, exactly. You never know the impact you're going to make, but you're not going to make any impact if you don't swing. You ain't going to hit it out of the park if you don't get up to the plate. You ain't going to hit it out if you don't take a swing. And if you miss, keep swinging, man. Keep swinging. Get moving physically, and then the emotional and spiritual. Yeah, I agree with that, Sherry. Very much so. Jeanette, great having you on with us. Susan, great having you on. Who else came on tonight? Well, we had a good group. Madeline, great having you on tonight. So we had a pretty good group tonight. So again, guys, love you, my friends. The Lord loves you. Know that Christmas is the greatest time of the year. The most wonderful time of the year. There's a song about that. Live it. Live in it. And let your light shine. Let your light shine and make a difference in the lives of other people. God is leading you to do that today. Can't wait to see you again. May God bless you. Hit that heart and that like emoji. Share this on your social media page. Let somebody else know. Somebody else just might be sitting there in that funk. And that little I'm eating pizza every day funk. And that little I'm going to eat Chick-fil-A every day funk. Because COVID just got me by the tail. It's time to break out of that. It's time to move out of those moments and start living life to make a difference in the lives of others. Love you dearly, my friends. God bless you. Cannot wait to see you again. We are on tomorrow night with Stronger Together at 6:30. And then, of course, we are back to worship on 2 beautiful locations, North Side and South Side, Canton and Peachtree City. And then Sherry again next Monday for Image of the ID. Not next Monday, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, Image of the ID. Image of the Divine, sorry. ID. I'm really hacking that up. Sorry, Sherry. Love you all. God bless you. Take care. We will see you again. Bye.